All right, we're back and I've got my royal icing here ready to go. So I have my tip number 3 still in my bag with red, and then I've got the extra red here, which I need to actually thin down. So I've got it here just to kind of show you the consistency. That's the piping consistency. And then I'm just gonna take a little bit of water at a time, just pour a little in, actually try to actually get it in the cup and not on the cookie, because it's just better that way. Yeah, so I just thought I'd show you that. Okay, so we've got some water in there. Now if I just go start stirring this up, it's gonna splatter in my face. And so you just wanna go really slowly first until it's incorporated. And we are just thinning it out, baby. We want it to be, we want it to be consistency that, usually what they say is that you, how I was taught, that you actually will, well, let me show it to you first like that. If you actually pick some up and let it drop, if you count to 10, like slowly, and if it flattens back out, then it's ready. If it happens within like 5, counting to 5, then whoo, it's too thin. You should probably stiffen it up. Best way to stiffen it up is add more royal icing to it rather than powdered sugar. Sometimes if you add the powdered sugar at this point, it will get lumps in it. So I think we are just about ready to rock and roll there, so that's good. Okay, so then you're gonna take your parchment bag, and this is another fun little thing here, is trying to get it in the bag and not all over yourself, you know? So it's always kind of fun. It's like a little game. Can you do it? So I'll go ahead and start pouring that in, hold on to it, and then scrape the rest in. Parchment bags, you want to fold them down like this, fold it down, fold that down, roll all this down so I don't get that all over my hands, and scrunch, kind of hold it over the paper towel in case there's a little hole there, and I'm just going to leave it like that. Later on I'll cut that end off when I'm ready to actually flood in the cookie. Okay, so when we're doing the royal icing and outlining and things, what you want to do is mainly try to hold your bag more at a 45-degree angle. I usually will steady my bag with a finger of the other hand, just so it doesn't, you know, shake or anything. And then you want to most of the time follow the shape of the cookie, except in certain areas. Like right here and right here, these two areas on this cookie are the only areas that are meant to have actually straight lines, okay? So even if the cookie, you know, when it bakes, it does slightly bow out a little bit. If I follow the shape of the cookie there, it's gonna make the cookie look actually a little bit on the sloppy side. So I'm gonna make, if it's supposed to have a straight line, you make a straight line, okay? So I will actually start over here, lightly touch, squeeze, and lift the tip off the surface just slightly, touch back down when you get to about here, and then start back up. Whenever you basically go around corners and stuff, I like to guess they just touch down a little bit. I'm gonna go here, squeeze, just kind of let the icing just drop slightly, and then I'll go to there, touch back down, stop, and then turn the cookie so I'm more at the angle that I need to be at. Now, say you're doing this and, you know, the icing kind of dropped where you didn't want it to, you could always take a small brush and kind of move the icing over where you need it to be. Touch back down. Now this is where I need a straight line again. Touch back down. And even though this is going to be white down here, we still need to fill this in. So if you're doing assembly line cookies, a whole bunch of them, then it's good to actually do this first. By the time you get to the last one, then you can go back and start filling them in. This is what I mean. I've got a little brush here with a little water, so I could clean this up right here if I wanted to, just by kind of blending that. If I needed to push a line anywhere, like maybe here, I could just come over with the brush and just kind of push it where I need it to go. And then here where it's a little thick, I'll just kind of take some of that out. And I just want to cut some off. Say if it was a round tip, it would be like a number 5. So like the opening, maybe about a number 5, something close to that. Fold it like this and then put it straight up and down. Start right, not right on the line, but in a bit so that when you squeeze, it'll actually meet that line. And I usually like to go around almost in a big circle. Get to there, kind of turn it, come up here. Then you can start to just start cruising. Okay, now I haven't gotten to the edge on every single little area there, which is fine. Right now I just want to get it flooded in before it starts to dry. Okay, so there I have it flooded. There's some gaps there, so what I'm going to do is clean my tip off, put my tip back in, and just push it over to the line. You can also use a toothpick to do the same thing, but hey, why mess up a toothpick when you have the bag already? If you have any air bubbles that bother you or you think they're going to be noticeable, you can just take a little toothpick in the air bubble, pop it, and you're good to go. Now the thing about the royal icing cookies that's different than the fondant is now that I have to actually wait for that to dry. If I were to go ahead and pipe the white icing on there, it's just gonna sink in there and then the red icing is probably gonna overflow. So I'm gonna go ahead and let this set up and we'll be back when we're ready to finish it off. All right, I'm back and we are gonna finish Mrs. Claus. So I've got black here, tip number 6, and I'm gonna do the belt. So right in this area, I'm just gonna do a zigzag back and forth, bags at 45-degree angle, squeeze, and I'm gonna curve it out a little bit there and then come to straight up and down to that center area. Curve it out there a little bit more. And then have the bag straight up and down and just squeeze and do 1, stop squeezing off to the side, 2 little buttons, and then we'll go to the white royal icing. Okay, and this is the one that has tip number 6 in it, and we're just gonna swirl just like we did on the other one for this part. And then back to the top. And then I can just show you, the only things that are a little bit different would be the leaves. We did the holly leaves in fondant on the last one. We're gonna do it in buttercream here on this one. And we can still go back and take the black and do our little belt buckle, and when that dries, we can paint that with gold. As soon as that royal dries, if it's completely dry, then we can paint it. So later on, I'll paint that. You already saw me paint the other one, so I don't think you need to see that part again. I want to bring this down a tiny little bit, and then the leaves, I've got a 352 to do the little holly sprig leaves. And right in here, I'm just gonna squeeze and pull the tip out this way. So it's like a little bird beak. Squeeze and pull this way, and then in the middle, straight up and down. So same as the other one as far as the positioning, 3 down here, 1 up by the belt. Right over here, and we can add a tiny bit of detail as far as that creasing, how we did it with the tool before. We'll use the royal icing red tip number 3. So we have that out to do our little dots in the center anyway. Squeeze, stop squeezing. I'll just turn it this way. And then I'll just start right about here in the white and squeeze. And then stop squeezing, but continue to kind of drag the tip. And there's something actually in the tip here. Okay, there we go. So I'm gonna go back over that one, make that a little wider. And right in there, I'm gonna have to take a paintbrush and clean that up. Okay, there we go. Clean it up with the paintbrush, and voila, the royal icing version of Santa's dress. There we go. All I have to do is paint it gold later, right here.